Dewar Cruz here, your life applications officer. Um, Cornell West and Candace Owens. Had a debate with this white gentleman. I don't know his name. He didn't give it. The title name of the channel that this is on is called Power to the Pod. Power to the Pod with Superior. So this guy's a Cornell West fan. And Mr. Power to the Pod. Cornell West had a discussion with Candace Owens. He wanted to correct Candace Owens on some of the stuff that she stands up for. He wanted to he's bothered by her being a Trump supporter, obviously, and a lot of things that Candace says. Candace, like myself and many others, we believe that we've come to the place, the end. We've fought racism and we fought well. And we don't need anything from white America except our right to do what they do if we choose to, if we feel we need to. Let me say that again. We feel that we have fought racism, me and Candace and Brandon and Larry Elgar and many people. We feel that we have fought racism, or our grandparents or their grandparents. They fought Jim Crow very well. Okay? We feel they won. We feel that along with the help of white people that stood with us, and I hope you can't hear my neighbor's music and that in the background. I can hear it a little bit. These hearing aids are all the way up, and I hate interference. Like when I come home and I shut my door's shut for a reason. I want my privacy. I don't want my music mixed with their music. I don't want, my voice or whoever I'm talking to on the phone. I'm trying to talk to somebody on the phone. I hear them over there yelling or whatever. It's pray for me if you're a Christian, because I want to move this coming summer. I want to move. Anyway, I don't know where I'm getting the money, but I want to move. Shame on me that I don't have, a couple thousand in my account to blow. Maybe it's because I'm not that responsible, or maybe it's because every time I make money, the cost of living then went up a long time ago. I should have been made this money. Now I'm broke. Okay? No, this was yesterday's cost of living. The cost of living that went up twice. And now I'm broke. Okay? Trying to keep up with the cost of living. But that's another video for another channel. But it's a shame. Shame on me. I admit, shame on me for not having a few thousand in the bank. I got people that make less money than me that got a few thousand in the bank, and they're driving cars and living in a better place and everything. I'm wondering what's going on. Lord Jesus, help me. I'm trying to figure out how that's possible. Kind of in the same way that a lot of black people look at white people. How is it possible that a black man and a white man they both live in Pittsburgh? The black man went out and did what he had to do to get a house. I don't have a house. Okay? I have what used to be a motel many years ago. This whole thing used to be a resort. And I believe since late 1970s, early 80s, this has been a housing complex, and they've had so many different landowners. Landowners come, they hold it for a while, and then they move. Somebody tell me something. I mean, why do you need to? I don't know. Good thing is, though, these landowners have property all over Pennsylvania. So I could move somewhere totally in another part of Pennsylvania because my name's already in the system. Everything checks out. It's not like I got to go start this all over again and be eligible, because I'm already eligible. You know what I'm saying? And I know how that sounds. But here in Pennsylvania, you have to be eligible to live in certain towns and live in certain complexes and all like that. The reason why I'm eligible up here is because most of my neighbors are immigrants. Well, they were. Since the pandemic, now we're starting to look more American. Help me with that. But we have a lot of immigrants up here, and some of them are illegal. So that's why, I was able to come. Now they have to have a good background check, or they have they have to, they have to have a good background check. So I have to have a good background check, which I do. But you don't have to have a good credit. My credit is horrible. They don't have any credit. My credit is horrible. Okay? I owe money to everything and everybody with 3 to 4 letter words or letters in their name. Like I owe the FBI, NCIS, the CIA, okay? Did I say RIS? The NAWCP, you know what I'm saying? Like, I owe money to everybody. I mean, the NFL, you know what I'm saying? The WWF, like everybody digging in my pocket. Like, wait a minute. I didn't know I was into wrestling. Why am I getting a letter from the WWF? You know what I'm saying? That's how my life is, man. Like, I get letters from people that I don't recall. I get letters, people try to scam me. They try to send me letters because they know my credit is bad. They know I've let myself fall into stupid ideas which made it worse. So they he's stupid, so let's jump on the bandwagon. Let's all dig in his pocket. I'll be getting letters from letter names I didn't know exists. Okay? The CCCIA and who are these people? Anyway, let me get back to this video. I stand with Candace, okay? Obviously. Cornell West, I've ran into some of his content before all over YouTube, and Brandon Tatum has spoken about Cornell West and other black conservatives like Candace Owens. This is what I want to say. You can't treat, this is what a Spanish person said on YouTube in a short that I watched a couple weeks ago or so. He said that the difference between Spanish people, Puerto Ricans namely, and blacks is Puerto Ricans know how to treat their people. I agree with him, but I also feel that at this point, this is not a good time for anybody to get into close ties with, like, I don't invest in anything that's considered pro-black. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. And I don't support anything that starts off with the word black or even African American. Okay? You know what I mean? To me, if it's good, it doesn't have to start off with the word black. If it's good, it doesn't have to, you know what I'm saying? If it's a good church, it doesn't have to be called a black church. You know what I'm saying? I understand that, you know, why you do it, and I understand why you did it in the past. But this is 2023. Okay? You don't have to call anything black. It is what it is. The only time you have to call something black is when you're being racist about it. You don't want white people to get involved. And there are plenty of churches where they don't want white people going to their churches. They're afraid of white people coming in and take over. And I got to admit, I've been to churches where the white folks came in there and took over, and it was better for the church that the white folks took over because they didn't know how to run the church. And the white people came in there and said, hey, it's your money. Tithes and offerings go to you. But let us show you how to run your church. And they did a good job. They came in there. They ran the church. They didn't need the black money. They just wanted to help them run their church. And their church was successful. But a lot of these black guys, they you know, these white people come there and they're helping you make money, man. They're helping you build your business. And you decide that, oh, they're trying to take over. They're making us look bad. They're making us look a certain way by coming in here telling our people what to do. Even though they're claiming we're running it, and we are, but we don't need them to tell us what to do, okay? And what happened? The white man moved on, because that's what he does. He moved on to another church. He wasn't going to stay that long at your church anyway, but you sent him out of there early, okay? And what happened? Where's your church at today? Oh, you in a hotel suite. You in a, you at the VFW trying to have church. And your congregation then downsized too. Because some people ain't into that have church anywhere the wind carries your butt kind of crap. You know what I mean? We're going to have church, we're going to have church in a church. You know. And we're going to have church, and we're going to have a certain amount of members, and you know, we're going to have opportunities and programs and all like that coming out of the church. You know. They're not into that. Let's start off small with the VFW or the fire hall or something and have church. My pastor did it. He's a white pastor. But he did it. He started off jumping from hotel suite to hotel suite. He started church in a room that was smaller than this apartment. Okay? I remember when he used to have church at the hotel. I've been to one of his services at the Days Inn long time ago. And then he finally raised enough money to buy his own church. Now our congregation bounces up and down because the problem with him is he doesn't like to share ministry, because he thinks that in order for somebody to minister in his church, they have to do it in his style, but he doesn't really have a style for everything. You know what I mean? You know, if people have a gift to do something, let them do it. Okay? And if it doesn't really fit your taste, then see if it fits the taste of the congregation. It ain't necessarily got to fit your taste. One of my other pastors taught me that. It's not about me, it's about the congregation. About the people. You know. But he's doing better. Hate to say he's doing better than a lot of my black counterparts that left this church. And tried to go start another church somewhere else because they want to be in charge. They don't care about if God is calling them to be in charge or if God has equipped them to be in charge. They want to be in charge. And they suck at it. Okay? But I was going to put this on my other channel, but then I said, no, this is the channel where if I'm going to talk about black folks, I better do it on this channel. I don't want all my channels of me, clowning black people. If that's what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing, though. I care about black people, just like Candace Owens, like she said. I care about black people. The reason why I'm so hard on black people because I feel that black people are my people and they embarrass me. Every time they open up their mouth, oh my God, they just embarrass me. They embarrass me. Like this cat and him talking about the debate between Cornell and Candace. I understand that us conservative people, we a lot of times we don't talk about the racism that we go through. I go through it. I've been pulled over by cops. Cornell said this to Candace. He says, well, I'm not so much concerned about black men being arrested, but I'm more concerned about black men getting shot. And I'm more concerned about black men driving while black. And he had a point there because, I went up to Bellevue to look for an apartment. Right before I moved into here, back in 2018. And I was in a rent-a-car. And I was in a rent-a-car. I got a rent-a-car for a couple things, and one of them was to go look at that apartment. And the guy told me up there that my credit check didn't work out. And I'm like, they have good credit to get an apartment for $400 and some a month. I have to have good credit. Seriously? So I'm paying a little bit more than that here, and I don't have to. And my rent went down because I guess, they had a change in the lease. So my rent was like over $600, and then it went down to $5 something now. It's back down to almost $600. Okay, and if you think that's low numbers, welcome to Pennsylvania. This ain't one of the big states. This is Pennsylvania. Okay, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people come here to Pennsylvania. Not that Pennsylvania is anything special, but because the cost of living is one of the cheapest in America. Right here in Pennsylvania, and not just Pennsylvania, but Pennsylvania. What's right next to us? Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland. You know what I'm saying? Cost of living is a lot cheaper than other places in the country. Okay? And even though there's plenty of crime in Pittsburgh, me and a brother at work, a black brother, we were talking about this today. Like, we're afraid to leave Pennsylvania with everything going on all the way from here to Texas, to New Orleans, to You name it. It's like every day in the news, you people are in the news more than Pittsburgh is. And so even though I hate Pittsburgh, me and the Uber driver was just talking about this yesterday, because she did just like me. She left Pittsburgh and came back. And she came back because she went through a divorce, just like me. Well, I didn't come back because I went through a divorce. I've been divorced. I came back because I lost, my company lost a contract, and I was homeless. And I ended up here, and it worked out for me because I had to leave my good old suburban, shrine, garrison where I was safe at, and come down here to this nonsense, okay? Just like she did. She had to do it because of divorce. I had to do it because not only was I homeless, but my company lost the contract with NRG. But it was good for me because my desire to be a supervisor checked out, and losing that contract at NRG opened up the door for me to be a supervisor, which I was a supervisor for 2 different security companies, and I knew. Now, they just lost the contract at Shadyside Hospital. They just lost the contract this month. Like, this is really evil. At the beginning, they lost the contract in January, and they started laying people off in December. Somehow I knew this was going to happen. I just didn't know it was going to happen that soon. But I knew it was going to happen. And that was the second reason why I quit. I gotta admit, the first reason is because being a supervisor with my hands tied wasn't working right for me. I felt like I was overqualified for my job. Okay, you called me in here to help you get everything up to speed. Why are you tightening my hands, which is just really my mouth? I'm just telling you what's going on and asking you what do you want to do to fix it, and you're like, oh, don't do that, don't worry about that. And what happened? I walked out and you lost the contract. You can't have people working for you that make you look bad. And there's the thing there. Those white people that I worked with over there that were higher paid than me, and I don't want to sound like a lot of people, a lot of black people I know, but it is true. I found this out when I quit. When I resigned, I found this out. They didn't have my back. They felt that no matter how good I do, they didn't want to give me the credit for it. They knew that I was the one keeping the contract going because I was putting my foot down and almost getting punched in the face, and you name it. And it's all black people. Okay? The white people, we have a short 5-minute or less argument, and either somewhere between 5 minutes later to the next morning, afternoon, evening, we're friends again. Black people, what they do? They want to fight. They waiting for me after work. I'm a supervisor, and I'm the highest paid supervisor here. I'm the only one that's working here full time. I've worked all 3 shifts. I know the policies for all 3 shifts. Okay? It is my prerogative and my right and my job to tell you what to do and tell you what not to do and tell you, and I told them, listen to me. That way you don't get yourself in trouble with UPMC. Listen to me, and that way the management doesn't come down on you. Listen to me. I'm the mediator between you and all these other people. Listen to me. No. I had to call for protection against these people, wanting to fight all the time, because black people don't respect black people. And I like what Candace Owens said to Cornell. She said, look, you can't sit there and cry racism and say that black people are, talk about reparations and jobs and claim that, where's these black people out there standing in line waiting to get these jobs that they can't get? A while back in the 80s, but in 2023, I don't see no black people. Matter of fact, on the other side of this goddamn wall, this brother moved in here. He only been here. He started here last year. They having weed parties over there every day. He quit his job, or he got fired. Now I got all these people going against policy. Here we go. It's black people in policy, I'm telling you. You got these people going against policy. They're going to get him messed up. They're going to get him jammed up. Got these people over there going in and out of his house. All kinds of people going in and out of his house. I told him, please don't do that here. Okay? Like, I know y'all think weed is legal everywhere, but take it off property. Most of the people up here ain't into that. These good old people ain't into that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you got to do it, take it off property. It's one thing to smoke cigarettes up here. They don't even want you smoking up here. You doing this. Come on, man. And they're having parties over there. Okay? I come home from work. They're waking him up. To do what? None of them's working. They just going in and out, all day long. Totally have no, you know what I'm saying, where the average white kid, the average rich white kid, I've watched white people, I've had bosses that were millionaires, okay? CEOs that were making millions, ridiculous millions, okay? They sent their sons and daughters to go work for McDonald's. Made them get in line behind these black people. The black people didn't check out because they didn't know how to dress for the interview. They went to the interview talking about what they ain't gonna do because the mama sending them, the daddy sending them, the mama sending them. The daddies ain't never there. The mama sending them. Okay, they want to go home and tell mama the white man didn't want to hire me. I know this all my life. When I lived in Homewood, Pittsburgh, and I had when I used to volunteer at the hospital, okay, these white people at the hospital was reaching out to these ghettos around the area, handing out flyers. Come get a head start on, nursing, or get a head start on your dream to be a doctor or whatever, or find something tangible to do. Come join us. Well, I was one of them ones because my mom had a lot of white friends. And if my mom liked you, I liked you. So her caseworker reached out to me when my mom died. And her caseworker was proud that I came over and said, hey, I hope that noise isn't bothering you. They just so restless over there. But her caseworker became my caseworker. And she showed me how to get any government assistance that I was getting in my name instead of having to have a guardian for me. My aunt is dead and gone, and she was a good Christian when she died. May she rest in peace. I love her to death. But she didn't want to let me know that my money was my money, and my mom's white caseworker. This is how white people get killed. My mom's white caseworker settled the score. She said, I ain't got to deal with your aunt. Sign the papers, boy. And I signed them. And the next thing you know, all my money was coming to me instead of her. And certain members of my family disowned me for that because they felt that I owed them. Well, how do I owe you? You didn't even want to take care of me when my mom died. They had to ask you to take care of me. You know, this is common in the black community. I was living in a house, my mom's house, all by myself. And I had cousins that they were like third or fourth cousins. They were coming in there talking about, we need to come in here and take care of you. And they were eating up my food. They were like my aunt would give me money and they would say, oh, you got to share. You got to do this. You got to do that. You know, some real ghetto crap. Until my aunt had a change of heart because my one cousin was, we all were riding in a car and we wrecked the car into somebody's house and all ended up at the police station. He was driving, he didn't even have a license. And his mama was like, oh, well, I'm just glad they're safe. No, you need to make them move out my house. But, I was in there and he was in there, bringing his girlfriend in there because his mama didn't want her her eating up her food and all like that. Welcome to the ghetto, okay? We were living up in the projects when this was going on. And, this is what we do as black people. My own cousins didn't respect me. I had a cousin next door, okay? And I used to babysit her daughter. We ran into each other when I was a supervisor at Shady Side. We ran into each other. And life is doing much better for her, but lucky for me, one cousin didn't get along with another cousin, so finally I moved in with my aunt and shut down the house. My grandpap, who was not my original grandfather, he was my grandmother's third husband. Welcome to the ghetto. Of course, they had the best house on Ray Street later on, and everybody was jealous of it. But and then when my grandpap died, who was my grandmother's third husband, when he died, the house should have been given to my aunt and my oldest cousin because they took care of my grandpap. No, his family came down and wanted to make money off the property because it was remodeled and everything, and they sold it to somebody who wanted to turn it into an insurance agency and get out of Homewood. They wanted to get out of the black community, so they turned it into an insurance company and sold it, and then they bought it back because they went bankrupt or whatever, and the house was getting ready to go to the bank, and so they fought to get the house back, and then they started then they sold it out again. But I used to sit there and watch this cousin of mine and his girlfriend and watch them live off of me and don't know hardly anything about me. Like this crap right here. Living off of me. Walking in and out of my house every day. Kind of like bullying me to take care of them. And I'm the youngest one out of all of us. You know. But white people never treated me like this. White people never treated me like this. And my mom's social worker, she made me a volunteer at West Penn Hospital. And I was the only black volunteer there. Now, Cornell West talking to Candace Owens and the young man that did the video. Cornell and this boy, they think that it's white people's fault that black men are not working and they're not getting the jobs that they want and all like that. And I'm looking at white people who go to school, okay? Everything from when I first went to lethal weapons training, okay, going all the way back in time to Job Corps and the classes that they took and the dreams that they had. And they did what they had to do to get the job. All the way to today, where I'm looking at the same thing that I saw back in the 80s, in my childhood, where all these black people crying about jobs. But they give up like that. Like, they crying about a job on Wednesday, and then on Thursday they're like, F it, I don't care. Young men and old men. And a white man came to my church, and there was a bunch of black people, and my pastor told all of us, he says, you know, my job that I was working back in, when I was doing security and when I was working at the fabrication shop, both times, they were hiring. And I had permission from my pastor as well as my bosses at my jobs. You know, even when I worked at the YMCA as a housekeeping supervisor, my boss, my CEO, he was like, if you know somebody that, if you can get some people to work for you, let me know. I'll sign them in, you know. And I could only get one person to work for me. I worked for another guy that had a private business. Okay? Out of all the black people that we had working for us, they all were like coming in on Monday and quitting on Tuesday. The white man stayed the longest, but he was a deadbeat too. But he stayed longer. He was there for a month, at least. You know. And the money was great because there was only the three of us. It was split between the three of us. The boss, me, I got half, okay, of whatever he made, and then, you know, whoever I hired under me, they got like, you know, what's over half of a half? What's like, you know, they got like a little bit less than half, you know, of what I made. It was more than half, okay, of what I made. Well, it was more than, you know, a quarter or a third of what I made. You know, it was pretty up. It was up there. We almost made the same thing because there's only three of us. We only did one person at a time, and that job was laid back. We could take all day, take our time, and do it as long as we get it done before we lock up the building, because, you know, all that's on camera and everything. You know what I'm saying? But people, so how can you say that? How can you say that white people are keeping you from what you want when I don't see you when I go to apply for a job. I see you. I see you walk out before you even finish the application. Are we going to sit here and say that, oh, well, black men need help with filling out the application? They need help with doing a cover letter. They need help with a resume. Okay? When I first moved to New Kensington back in the late 80s, when I graduated from high school and I was on my way to Baton Rouge and we ended up turning around and coming back to Pennsylvania, I moved to New Kensington. The Youth Job Match program was run by this beautiful biracial lady and her biracial daughters. 3 lovely, beautiful women. Now, her daughters were, one wanted to be a lawyer, and the other one was like, was in the medical billing or something like that. But they went through the program. That's how the program was designed. They went through the program, got what they wanted. Okay? Everybody was black. The husband was darker than all 3 of them. Okay? What are they doing over there? God. Okay? The husband was darker than all 3 of them. So it wasn't like there was this white man behind all this light-skinnedness, okay, helping these women get ahead. No. They were the kind of black people that knew how to, and everybody, all the black men wanted her daughter, her one daughter, the one that wanted to be a lawyer, but she was in a business. That quick, she jumped from, she took her ability, she was getting paid good money. Somebody white hired her to work at work in a place to train apprentices. I don't know what she was doing, but because of her, taking special training on how to teach people to do cover letters and all that kind of stuff, she ended up striking it big. Here she is. She must have been 21 years old. She had this car called a Nissan Pulsar. It was the cutest little tiny sports car I've ever seen in my life. And I've never, even when I was young, I've never really been into sports cars. I don't get what the point is. You still got to go by the speed limit. They're not racing cars. You got to go by the speed limit. So what's the point? But anyway, she had that Nissan Pulsar and that, But like her mom showed us, like she didn't get that from, any scholarship. She didn't get that from any luck. She didn't get that from shucking and jiving or nothing. She got that from hard work that led to her owning, a business. I think she actually went into doing taxes or something like that. But an accountant, that's what it is, an accountant. She did taxes and stuff like that. But it was a business. She was in a partnership with some white folks that invited her in because she was good at what she does. And she was loaded. And her mom, her husband, had a good job. So she was doing very well. Plus she owned the job match program. It was her program. But this is what happened. They make their funds from the government based on the number of black Americans that come in and join and are being able to receive what they need. It's kind of like, a welfare office or something like, the government was funding this to help minorities come in there, and it's mainly black people, come in there and learn how to do cover letters, learn how to do like workshops. You know what I mean? They were letting us train for different jobs. We were doing aptitude tests and all like that. I love them aptitude tests because they change all the time. They change as you get older and stuff like that. But they lost the business because nobody black wanted to commit. They even told me, "You going in there?" I'm like, "Yeah, I ain't going in there. Man, I'm tired, man. Where the money at? Man, I'm tired. I ain't going in there, man. They want me to sit down and be writing stuff, reading stuff, get on the computer, and you know what I mean? I know how to read. I know how to write. I'm tired. Where's the money?" I said, "Well, dude, we complete the program, and then we get placement." But the shop, you know, and it went down and down and downhill, and they weren't there as many days as, you know, because they couldn't afford to be there, you know, 5 or 6 days a week because, you know, unless the people are there to participate, you don't get the funds. Okay? So Mom and her 2 daughters, they were fine. But they lost the business. And today that place is Hewitt Tax Services or something like that. I think her daughter sold that business and sold it to a tax company that she was affiliated with. Because it's been a tax company ever since. It started off with, one time it was Liberty, now it's Hewitt, you know, Jackson, all 3 of them occupied the building at one time, you know, had their turn occupying the building. But anyway, in closing, I know firsthand that Cornell was wrong when he trying to explain to Candace Owens why it's the white man's fault that black people aren't getting ahead. And like Candace Owens said, we're not in a situation today to where if one white man turn you down, that means they all turn you down. It's all one thing. It's not one thing. It's not all one thing. You know, we're living back in time, and this is what kills me about black Americans. This is what makes me, you know what I mean, like, I understand that we're very diverse. And I'm not part of the black community. I understand that. Okay? And people say, "Hey man, you and I, we're going to do this," and I like you and all, but I'm not part of the black community. Because whatever job I do it wholeheartedly as unto the Lord. And whatever job I do, if I don't like it, I make plans to resign. I go apply for other jobs and make plans to resign. I don't make other people miserable because I hate my job. Okay? I don't fight on my job. Dude wanted to fight this morning. I said, "Calm down." I walked out. He yapped, and then he's going to try to make fun of me. I said, "Calm down, man. Ain't that big of a deal." And I walked out and got my bus. I'm not going to argue with him, because if I argue with him, then I know what he'll try to do. He'll try to go to the top and act like, you know, I'm being, what's that word? Insubordinate. I had one thing to say. Calm down, brother. Calm down, brother. Calm down. I know what you're doing. Calm down. You know, trying to be a show off and all like this. But when a white man talks to you like that, it's racism. But when you talk to me like that, what is it? What is it? What is it? Black people get no respect from black people. Okay? And I've been able to get my respect from white people because there's a policy. Even when I'm outnumbered by whites, there's a policy. And if I know how to bring up the policy, and I'm not talking about the job, I'm talking about out there on the street, there's a policy. White people believe in policy. Even policy about racism. Either you're going to kill me or you're going to respect me. Okay? Either you're going to kill me or you're going to respect me. Either you're going to lie and say that you had a legit reason or you're going to respect me. Okay? But with black people on black, there is no respect. We don't argue with each other and box and then say we're sorry and then become the best of friends. No. And I've been hearing about this all week. Incidents. Black on black all over Pittsburgh. And Chicago. Now New York. Now it's Texas, Arizona, Florida. Black on black. Way more than what's going on here in Pittsburgh. Okay? And then you wonder why I don't want to leave Pennsylvania. Because even though Pittsburgh gets on my nerves, I know something about Pennsylvania. I know where to go to get away from nonsense. But in closing, one more thing I'd like to say is that you can't complain about white people until you have yourself together. The black people of the past knew how to work. They knew how to come together and build businesses. They knew how to, they accepted the Jim Crow laws. And they did what they needed to do. White people, black people didn't really have a problem with white people until they became free. That's what I want to say. Black people didn't have that serious a problem with white people until they became free. Once we got free, and we're looking at black millionaires and billionaires that are not billionaires or millionaires because of the black community. Back in the day, the black community, if you knew what to do in the black community could make you rich. Today, everybody who wants to be rich is getting out of the black community. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay, in my opinion, okay? But that's the way it is also. And there's a reason for that. It's because black people today are more prone, they're in this fantasy world of thinking that they're fighting racism. Yeah, there's racism, like Candace said. There's racism, but are we really fighting racism? Or are we fighting black on black? Are we fighting racism, or is our fight with black on black? Our fight is with black on black indeed. Okay? We're not fighting, yeah, racism exists, but we're not fighting racism. Racism isn't holding us back. Okay? You know what I'm saying? When I used to work at the electroplating shop, the brother, the Bugles owned the company. Okay? And this was back in the early 90s. Okay? I tell one Bugle, okay, got on my nerves. I went and told another Bugle. He said, oh, send him over to me. I need him. He can work for me. And then the first Bugle, he found out I was a hard worker compared to a lot of other black people that were working there. Me, my wife, and a couple other people. They said, oh, I'm short on people because I'm firing all these people. Send some over, share some of that with me. Oh, now you want me back. You tried that country boy crap with me because that's where you come from. But your brother who's been around, he been around more than you do. See, that's the way we are today. Your brother who's been around more than you, he understands. He understands integrity, whether you're black or white. There's people out there, black people, that understand your integrity. They understand what's good. I gotta close. Let white people be diverse. But see, you don't want black people to be diverse. This is why you think white people are not diverse. White people are very diverse. You need to let black people be diverse, and then you'll start to believe that white people can be diverse too. All white people don't think alike about black people or any other race, and everything ain't about black people. I'm tired of hearing white people complain about Indian and Arab people. They ain't never forgave them for 9/11. I'm thinking that's a lot of nerve. Let it go. But at any rate, they're doing the same thing you do. But you judging. And you judging black people even more than you judging white people. But you're judging the good black people that know how to work, that know how to talk to white people and negotiate with white people and get what they need from white people. They don't need reparations. They just need to be able to do what their counterparts right across the room from them are doing. It ain't reparations. It ain't an apology for something that you wasn't there to go through. It's just simply, I need the right to park my car in the lot like you park your car in the lot. I need a right to make, $17 an hour or $18 an hour, $19 an hour, just like you do. That's it. And if we can do that, what are we complaining about, says Candace? What are we complaining about? What's the problem? That's what's important. But no, we're so focused on, I feel this way about myself. It must be the white man's fault. No, it's your mama. It's your mama. And her sleeping around and charging all these black men child support for a child she don't want him to come near. But yet, she's doing a lousy job of being a single parent. That's what the problem is in America. I'm D. Cruz. I'm your Life Applications Officer. Thank you for watching. More to come soon. God bless.